If you've been in the self-help space and still not seen a significant change in your life, then this video is for you. The self-help industry is currently valued at about 40 billion US dollars, and in 8 years it's projected to go up to 90 billion US dollars. Do you think that these people make money by actually fixing you, or by keeping people in self-help and then getting more people in self-help and being able to sell more books, more pills, more solutions to your problem? Exactly. There's a reason why the self-help that you've done so far hasn't worked, and that's because it's placing this thing that you want outside of yourself. It's meaning that you need the next tactic or framework, or you need to change your thoughts or change your actions. You need to surround yourself by better people. All of these things that either crumble down after 2 to 3 months, or these things that burn you out because you're feeling like you're having to try so hard to push through and be this person that you want to be. Now, the real solution that they don't tell you about, because it's completely free, is doing the inner work. The things that are stopping you from being who you want to be isn't that you need to add anything else in, it's that you need to release things that are inside of yourself. You have held on to anger, desire, to wanting things, to attaching to things, to doubting yourself, to a fear of rejection, all of these things which are stopping you to work. And as a founder, you probably hold on to a lot of things that make rejection difficult when you have sales calls or when you're doing outreach, to keep pushing through when actually there's no sign of whether this thing is going to work, attaching to becoming a 10K a month business or a 20, 40, 80K a month business, and feeling the impact of when you move towards that and when you also move away from it. So when we are young and when we're growing up, at all times, we are taking in these emotions from these events that are happening to us. And particularly when we're young, we're not very able to deal with these emotions. And so we repress them and we suppress them. So let's say in terms of fear of rejection, which might affect you on sales calls, which might affect you with outreach, which might affect you with even content distribution and worrying that no one's going to see it or people won't like it. I've actually had a client who was worried about fear of rejection this week. On Tuesday, I'm recording on a Friday. He had a project that he was ready to release on Monday, but didn't because it had some bugs with it. But anything in AI is going to have bugs. And so we worked through what was happening there. And on the Tuesday, he launched it and he's already had 2 positive reviews by later that evening. He also experienced this when he made music and the music couldn't go out. And this fear of rejection was stopping him from releasing the stuff that he'd created and put so much time into. And when he did actually release something, he then didn't nurture it. He sort of just threw it out there and then forgot about it. Because if he didn't put in the required effort and he didn't take all the steps, well, if it doesn't work, at least he could say, oh, but it's because I didn't try. It's because I didn't do X, Y, Z. And he could put it on things that are outside of him. Inner work is so fucking simple. All you need to do is think about the thing that you want and then sit with the emotions that come up, particularly releasing the negative ones. So all of these fear of rejection that you have around the sales calls and things, that if you go back, it's probably when you weren't picked first in for football at school. And if you go before that, maybe at primary school, the teacher didn't pick you when you put your hand up. And maybe before that, when you were younger, your mum ignored you because she was on the phone when you were trying to get her attention. And it felt too big at the time. So instead of letting your body experience it and letting this emotion pass through you, your body has repressed it. And so then eventually these new things come in, and now you're not just feeling a fear of rejection from someone not replying to your DM, but actually you're feeling the fear of rejection of the last 25, 30, 35 years that you've lived. That's why it feels like such an issue, and that's why it stops you from taking the actions that you need to build as big a business as you possibly can. So how do we start to release these emotions? Well, what I want you to do is to find the patterns, find the resistance even, and the patterns of the resistance when you're working. Where is it where you seem to falter, where you tend to hide, or you tend to do extra work that you know is not necessary, or you pile a load of worry into a client? Find where that thing happens, where the resistance happens, and it stops you from doing the work, or it distracts you from doing the work that you know is important. Go to that place in your thoughts, watch the feelings that arise, and simply sit with it. observe. People use different methods. Maybe you are able to just sit in the seat of the observer and you could just notice the emotions going through your body. Try to label them, but again, don't intellectualize it and go, oh, maybe this is, people talk about this and actually I've got the... No, just sit and watch. You can't logic your way out of feelings, okay? Sit and watch and just see what it does. And eventually it will dissipate. And you can imagine, say you've got the fear of rejection. You could imagine, okay, what if I send this DM and this person doesn't reply? Can I sit there and be okay with the fact that that doesn't happen? Okay, what if I send this DM and the person does reply and it's negative? They just say no. Can I sit with that? Can I watch that emotion come and go? What if the person turns around and calls me a dickhead and starts abusing me and my family? This one person. Can I deal with that? You start bringing it up. Okay, what if I send 10 messages and no one replies? What if I send 10 messages and they will abuse me? 50, 100. What if in a month's time I've done all of this work every day and it still hasn't happened? Can I sit there and be okay with that? Can I be okay with the fact that if this doesn't work, my business is going to fall apart? Can I be okay with the fact that rejection is actually causing me to be a failure? Can I sit there and be okay with being a failure? Can I watch the emotions and let them pass through me? Eventually you can get deeper and deeper and deeper and release all of these feelings. And now there's no more resistance for when you go and do the work, because you're not having to battle against your 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old self who felt all of these emotions and couldn't let go of them. And you're fighting 20, 30 years of emotions all the time. But when you can let them go, you can be present and you could do the things that you actually want to do. Now, if you want to be surrounded by some like-minded founders and join in some community calls, some weekly community calls, please join the free community in my description. And if you would like a free coaching call where I promise that I will help you to break at least one of your beliefs or emotions and states of consciousness which is holding you back, then again, please click the link in the description. Thank you.